We need your cooperation.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned when I signed up for a comedy, and next thing you know, I'm getting thrown around and, you know, jumping through, you know, glass windows and all that stuff. But, you know, it's stuff that I'm certainly very comfortable with doing. And, but no, the action, I think, is just going to take it to a whole other level.
You know, want it realistic and have a style that you're used to for these action movies, but within that, these characters can be made fun of, you know, while we're in these insane situations.
We are doing a lot of property damage!
You know, I love action comedy when it's done well, but like Midnight Run to me is like one of my all-time favorite movies. It just masterfully balances both aspects of it. I thought it'd be interesting with what Will and I like to do to kind of filter that through our thing. I mean, obviously we like to do silly stuff, we like to do absurd comedy. What would it be like if we forced ourselves into a corner and had to do an action comedy with like a straight line? How would we handle that? So it was kind of a challenge.
Where'd you learn to drive like that? Grand Theft Auto!
When I sat down and spoke to Adam about it, he said that he wanted to play everything straight. And the analogy I came up with that I think he agreed with was Beverly Hills Cop, where it is a comedy, but the action was played straight, and it's hardcore, and it's intense. And that's what we've done with every action sequence here. We've tried to not make anything tongue-in-cheek and shoot it, choreograph it in a realistic, hardcore manner.
When you're dealing with action, it's got to be decent. No one wants to see half-assed action. So if you're going to have something that's not funny, overtly, then you better make sure it's really cool or badass or interesting or clever. It's got to be something. So we really just tried to come up with action scenes we hadn't seen before that had a little bit of a twist to them, like a shootout on a driving range with golf balls hitting all the characters while they're kind of shooting at each other.
We're cops! Hit the chopper! I think there's a very good chance if you were to kill yourself now that you'd be greeted in heaven by an infinite number of loving arms. But let's think about life. All the great things. Oh, look, he's flying!
We're so lucky to get to shoot New York and to get to show off, you know, all the different locations in the city and you know, from down in Wall Street to, you know, we're here in Rockefeller Center today, and almost, you know, every part of the city you can think of we're getting to put on film. And on top of that, yeah, we have a full second unit going the whole time that we're doing scene work, and with car crashes and, you know, guns ablazing, all this crazy stuff.
I feel like it's not fair that they have a helicopter!
Tell me again why I decided to get on this roof! I think you can chalk that up to bad life choices.
Well, the movie starts off with big action sequence, big chase sequence through New York City.
You know, shooting in New York is amazing because people are always freaked out by it. So this was great. We're like actually driving fast past the Waldorf, and Dwayne strapped to a car in front of me, and people are like...
We tore New York City apart. You know, car crashes through the bus. I then drive the bus with the car already crashed in the bus, which then winds up in a building, which we wind up doing $15–20 million worth of damage to, in the story, to New York City.
As far as stunts go on that, we had a testing ground at 27 West out here in Brooklyn, and we tested the jump a number of times at certain speeds with a specific ramp, and we decided at what speed and what distance does it take to get the Chevelle through a certain hole, which is actually the bus. So it was a practical stunt we did.
Did someone call 911? Holy shit!
So the Chevelle goes into the bus, and we had Rick Seaman, who was doubling Danton and Nat, because sliding the bus was very difficult, and Rick's one of the best drivers out there. So Rick came in and slid the bus and stops and hits another taxi, which slingshots the Chevelle out into the building and blow up the Trump Tower. But we did a couple tests, but we weren't exactly sure what was going to happen. When the Chevelle jumps through the air and actually hits the Escalade, but we weren't sure what the attitude of the Chevelle was when it was going to go into the Trump Tower. And you know, we thought whatever it was going to be a wreck, and it was going to be big.
So we've seen the rehearsals. We know what the car is going to do. It's going to hit the ramp, fly through the air, lift the top of the Escalade. Escalade's going to have one wrap of cable around it. We've got guys on a switch back there for the cable. The gentleman, Danny, will be on the switch for the pyro. They've worked out their cues. They know at what point everybody's going to hit the switch and when. We have all the effects that we've designed in there. They all happen. Car's all settled down. Richie and his team go in, make sure Chianti's good, and then we just proceed to get him out of there, and then everybody can applaud because everything goes over safely. We've got cameras just about everywhere. I believe everyone's covered. We've got crash cams, one in there, one back here on the side. One thing we all have to remember, as usual, make sure everybody is safe.
But what it did was it went up and it actually kicked up and did a wheelie and went through the building perpendicular.
If I was too fast, I would have probably maybe missed the SUV, which would have been wrong for the shot. Or if I was too slow, I would have been too deep in the SUV, so I had to be just at that right speed in order for it to work. So, yeah, I was just getting my speed and making sure I was lined up on the ramp, man. Making sure my tire is going to hit the ramp.
As an alternate, we shot another one, and we did it pulled in with a wire this time. Mark Hawker and the boys ratcheted the car out of the bus and through the air, and then again they ratcheted the car back into the Trump Tower.
211 in progress. They're using a wrecking ball to clean out Castian jewelry.
Danson and Highsmith, we rolling heavy. You cream puff.
So we've discovered that these guys are bulletproof. They've been in the business forever now as cops.
Come on, fellas. Wednesday night is taco night at Rikers Island.
And they get themselves to this chase. They follow these thugs up to the top of this building, and the thugs do a zip line all the way down to the bottom. So now Danton and Highsmith, thinking that they're now untouchable, go for the leap for 100 feet down to the ground, thinking they can make it. So they jump, and obviously at the very end of it they splat and die. The way that we did that was we just put we had a big crane there on set, and we rigged it out of the shot. We came up along the side of the building over the top and put them on decelerators. So we had Keontae Elam and Tanawai Reed up on the building as the doubles, and we decelled them on a rig, and they went down 100 feet down to the ground. And we did it twice.
3, 2, 1, go!
We did it the first time, and then we switched camera angles and did it another time. I think that top shot looks amazing, following them over the precipice right there. It's great. I think the people on the street were actually, some people were calling 911, and people thought that people were actually dying. The second big chase sequence in the movie is when Will and Mark are in the Prius, we call it the Gauntlet, and they're trying to get down to the NASDAQ building as quickly as possible to stop this transfer from happening. There's cops, there's helicopters, there's motorcycles, and everybody and their dog is chasing the guys down the street. And actually one of the bigger gags in the movie is that as soon as the Prius takes off out of the building in the morning, they're approached by two vans. Now these two vans are chasing them, and this is just one of the first things that they have to get through in the Gauntlet.
Do something, Alan. Hold on.
And the Prius does a pit maneuver, which is hits the bumper of the van in front of him, spins it around backwards, which enables both vans to crash into each other head on. So now both vans are going forward, but the front van's going backwards. And this hits a car and flies up in the air and crashes into a huge wreck, and we call it a Sidewinder. And the second van comes in and crashes into it and stops, and that's how they get away from the first van.
We always feel like the best comedy is played really real.
Oh, dude, you put a ding in my hood.
And so the tone of this movie, you know, while it gets silly and over the top, it still might be the most real movie in a way that we've done, which makes the situations that we get into so much funnier and makes all those things kind of, you know, come off the page.
Who are those guys? They're Chechen investors. We were going to do a Chechen version of Dora the Explorer.
It went terribly wrong.